Such cheerful readings this morning. This is Eva's last Sunday with us before she heads off to college, so if I don't make it through this without tears, I apologize. This morning's readings are a great deal about justice. And our gospel this morning, though difficult, is also very much about justice. Jesus didn't come to maintain a peace that was premised on injustice, and that was the world in which he was born. That was the status of the hierarchies of his time. And that started with the very basic unit of the household. So the divisions that he's talking about in this morning's gospel are divisions that seek to establish justice in an unjust system. Women and children were seen as little more than property. They didn't have rights. They didn't have a lot that made them seem of value in their culture and society, other than bearing children and living to see, adulthood. That was pretty much the value. Jesus lived and taught a different way. He spoke with women, whether they were alone or not. He called the children to come to him and gave of them his precious time and attention and love and affection. He reached out to those who were on the margins and drew them in. He looked to the downtrodden and the oppressed and lifted them up. His whole ministry and life were an affirmation that each of us is a valuable child of God. Each of us is worthy of dignity and respect. Each of us is worthy of a positive peace that's premised on justice. And that is what Jesus came to establish. And that sometimes requires a lot of change. We live in a world in which rights are threatened for many, in which many are being pushed to the margins, in which those on the margins are trampled down as others stand on their shoulders and backs and necks to get ahead. And we are called in this morning's readings to justice. We are called to see those who are made invisible by our society. We are called on to hear those whose pleas and voices have been silenced. We are called into a world in which we make the difference, in which we carry on Christ's work of seeing the unseen, hearing the unheard, affirming the unaffirmed, and of striving to establish justice where there is none. The vineyard in our first reading is illustrative to the people that Isaiah is talking to. It's a continuation of last week's prophecy to them that called them back to justice. It called them back to seeing each other and to being a community that is strong because it supports each other, where everyone is able to thrive, where everyone has enough. That's the community that God called his people to be, God's people to be. And in these readings, as the people of Israel are being pushed away by the prophet's words, it's a wake-up call. They weren't taking care of one another anymore. They weren't a strong community anymore. Like most societies, those who were comfortable wanted to just stay comfortable and not notice those who weren't. It's not an easy set of readings, but it's one that we need to hear. It's one that I need to hear as I drive up with discomfort to intersections where there are people standing with signs saying, "Please help." It's an important lesson for me to hear as I walk away from people who are dear to me. It's an important message because it's a wake-up call, not just in Jesus' time and place, not just in Isaiah's time and place, but in our own time and place. Because it speaks to something deeper about our human nature. It's nice to be comfortable. And sometimes we have to be made uncomfortable in order to see those who lack the comforts we have. I'm sending my daughter out into a world that's not an easy place. Sorry. We have to trust. The other part of our readings this morning is faith. A faith that fills us, that strengthens us, that brings us into communities where we can be vulnerable, where we can stand up here and cry because our daughter's leaving for college in 2 days. But our faith teaches us a way of seeing the world through God's eyes, a way of seeing the world that is so bereft of hope through the eyes of hope, that allows us to see our place as those who can bring hope to those who are hopeless, as those who can reach out to those around us and make a difference. It also teaches us to be vulnerable enough to let others in, to express our needs so that they can be met. These are lessons that we have taught our daughter over the past 18 years and that we trust she'll take with her. My hope is that each person in this space is able to take those lessons in as well. Our faith guides our lives. It guides our relationships into vulnerability, honesty, integrity, hope. It allows us to live in a world, this sacred, amazing, beautiful world that is so often hurting because of people's choices. And it teaches us to choose differently. So we send our daughter off in a couple of days knowing that she is strong, knowing that she has faith, knowing that she has a community that loves her and supports her, knowing that she's going to be just fine. I hope that we can all take that feeling with us. Each of you is surrounded by God's love. Each of you is called to make the difference that you can make in the lives you encounter each day. Each of you is called to live a life through the lens of faith that allows you to see God reflected back to you in the stranger's eyes, that allows you to see the unseen, that allows you to hear the unheard and silenced. And each of us is called to use the grace that we are given to make this world a better place. So go forth from this place being that gift to the world, continuing to be Christ's hands and heart, and continuing to be each amazing, individual, unique person that each of you is. It's what we're called to do.